All right, hey everyone, we're here with a Final Fantasy Magic set review. The set is coming out very soon. I know all four of us are really excited about it. I've got my friends with us, Sherlock at the top, CJ down below, and then down below on the next level down is Skips. Skips is also our flavor expert as a big Final Fantasy fan, so glad to have all these guys on board. We'll quickly walk through the archetypes. So we've just got the blue-white artifacts archetype, then the blue-black control, black-red mage aggro. So there is quite a few cards that create little 0/1 wizard dudes that deal 1 damage when you cast it on creature spells. So that's sort of that mechanic. Landfall aggro, we all know landfall. The green-white go wide, the standard Salazneia stuff. Black-white artifact and creature sacrifice, so nothing unfamiliar there either. The red-blue archetype's a little unique. It's got these certain cards that when you cast non-creature spells that cost 4 or more, you can get some really good benefits like drawing a card or extra buffs, things like that. Then you've got blue-green graveyard value in the Boris equipment aggro and the town deck in the blue and green. So really no crazy unusual archetypes here, all ones we're very familiar with. So we'll get into the set review and we'll get Shells to start us off. We've got to go by color alphabetically. So we'll start out with white.
All right. First up, we have Adalbert Steiner, a 2-mana white legendary creature. It's a 2-1 lifelink that gets a buff for equipment. I think this is going to be sneaky good. Even just a small equipment's going to give a decent effect. In an equipment-heavy set, I think this is probably going to sit around a 3 for me.
Yeah, I agree with Sherlock. It's looks like a solid 3.
I agree as well. I think it's a 3.
Yeah, you all said it. I think it's a 3. It will be good. So.
All right, the next one we've got Aerith Gainsborough, a 2 colorless, 1 white legendary creature human cleric 2/2 with lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Aerith Gainsborough, so very familiar, a Ajani Pridemate type of mechanic. But then it's got when Aerith Gainsborough dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of counters it has on it. I know we're only into card 2, but we're seeing a lot of legendary creatures early on. Again, these sort of cards, it's pretty good in a vacuum as just a 3-mana 1/1 2/2 that gains counters, but the second ability could be really relevant depending on what deck you're in. So I think this is probably just like a 2.5.
I think it's one of those cards at the 3-drop slot that we've seen before that, for starters, it's quite, medium lifelink at 2/2, but if you let it live for a couple of turns, it will get quite out of control, and then the upside of making all of your other legendary creatures bigger in a Legends heavy set could be quite scary. So for me, it's somewhere between a 3 and a 3.5, but I'll stick with a 3.
Yeah, I'm going to say a 3 as well. It actually plays really, really well with the last card we just saw. And I just think it's just going to give you some value if unanswered. So I'd put my money on a 3 for this one.
I'm going to go a touch against what you guys are saying. I think a 3-mana 2/2 that takes a bit of work to get going is it would be good over the long game, but I think it's a 2 out of 5.
Next up, Aerith Rescue Mission. It's a 4-mana common sorcery. Choose one. Take the elevator. Create 3 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens, or take 59 flights of stairs. Tap up to 3 target creatures. Put a stun counter on one of them. I believe this could be quite relevant in aggressive decks with a low curve, specifically the red-white aggro deck. There's a red-white aggro deck in every format. Topping this off the top of the curve and tapping 3 things and stunning them could be enough to push through quite a hefty amount of damage. But other than that, it's probably playable in a few other decks somewhere in the middle. So I think I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Yeah, I agree. As I said earlier before this, it was 2.5, but I'd give it about a 5 for flavor. So I like that just because it's a sick card. I really like it. But
For me,
2.5 for play.
Yep.
Yeah, like it's a conditional card. We don't know yet how good making 3 1/1s is, but the second spell ability at sorcery speed I find quite weak and underwhelming. Yeah, it's probably like a 2 for me.
All right, the next card is Ambrosia Whiteheart. It's 1 and a white for a flash. For a legendary creature bird with flash. When it enters, return another permanent you control, and it also has landfall, gets +1/+0, and it's a 2/2 in total. So I actually think this is really good. I think it's going to be about a 3 for me. You'll be happy to play it most of your decks, especially bouncing sagas and equipment and replaying them. And it doesn't block that well, but I think it's more there for the value. So a 3 from me.
I'm going to go a bit lower. I think because it doesn't ambush a lot, the 2/2 body's not amazing. I'm just going to go down to a 2.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of this landfall mechanic, especially on the birds. I think almost every bird has this +1/+0. It's a little early to know how good the bird synergies are going to be, but bouncing sagas could be very powerful. I think, again, the 2/2 is the part that's weak. If it was a 2/3, it'd probably be a lot better, but I think it is probably just like about a 2.5.
I agree with Heath, 2.5. I think it's very reminiscent of Sunpearl Kieran, but at legendary status. And I think being able to save things and pick up sagas and equipment could be relevant. So 2.5 for me as well.
Right, Ash, Princess of Dalmasca, 3-mana legend. When it attacks, look at the top 5 cards of the library, reveal an artifact, and put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom. It's a 3/2. I don't think this is that good. A 3-mana 3/2. How many equipments do you really want to play in your deck or artifacts? Probably misses a lot. I'm going to go a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, it's hard to say, again, without knowing the synergies of the format. This card could be a really high performer and a super high pick in the red-white decks or the blue-white artifacts matter decks. Anything that basically says look at 5 cards and draw one of them can be very good. So I think I'm going to go a 3 on this one.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between you boys. I think in the right deck, it can be quite good being able to find that particular artifact. And from what I've heard in a artifact heavy set, it could be quite relevant. So it's either going to be somewhere there. So I'll give it a 2.5.
Yeah, I'm just going to go 2.5 as well. It's going to play like a 1.5 sometimes, or it's going to play really, really well. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to go safety pick.
That's a great way to put it, though, Nath. Like sometimes this will be a 5, or a 4 for sure. Getting a great card.
I can see this just
when
going
it misses,
off,
so
especially
bad.
if you equipped it up.
Good point.
All right, Auron's Inspiration, our first trick. So a 2 colorless, 1 white instant. Attacking creatures get +2/+0. So very familiar card we see in most formats. It is an uncommon, but it has flashback for 2 colorless and 2 white. So the fact that it has flashback could actually make this card really good. But sometimes these Anthem effect damage cards just sit in your hand. You don't get the aggro starts that you want. They just basically dead cards, or you're casting it just to get a trade off because you're so far behind. So hard to say where I'm at on this card, but probably in a vacuum, I'm like a 2.
I think in a removal light set, tricks are going to be quite relevant for removal, and being able to cast something twice, whether it's even an aggressive deck or something more mid-range, is going to be quite good for value. I think it's going to be about a 2.5 for me, but I could see it being a 3 or even a 3.5 in a really low curve deck. Casting Anthem twice in an aggressive deck seems pretty good, but I'll sit at 2.5.
Yeah, I was just thinking more, what deck does this go in? And it probably mostly only goes in green-white, I think. Even though it's a sick trick, but I think it's just going to be really good in green-white. I think going wide, especially with that other card, makes 3 1/1s. So I might just give it a 3, to be honest. I think I'm pretty happy with it.
Thanks, Ben.
I'm going to go 2.
Yeah, it's hard to say. The flashback could be so good. It's just too early to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Battle Menu. This card is a 2-drop instant uncommon. Choose 1. Attack, create a 2/2 white knight creature token. Ability, target creature gets 0/+4 until the end of turn. Magic, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Or item, you gain 4 life. Oh boy, I think this card is a mythic uncommon. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's got great constructed playability, the ability to choose any one of these modes for 2 mana. I think it's really, really good. I like killing something, gaining 4 life, making a knight. I'm going to give this card a solid 3.5, but I could be underselling it. I think it's a great card.
Yeah, I agree. 3.5. There's nothing more to add.
I like it a lot. Yeah, I think it's not quite mythic uncommon. I'm going to go 3.
3.5 as well.
All right, next card is Beatrix, Loyal General, 4 and double white for a legendary creature human soldier. It's got vigilance, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of equipment you control to target creature you control. It's a 4/4. This is just going to be insane in the red white deck, like really insane. Grade wise though, guessing it's only going in that one deck, I'm just going to give it a 3.5 because it is just a 6 mana 4/4, but having that text in the right deck, it could just go off. So
What did you grade it? Sorry, Nath.
a 3.5.
Okay. Yeah, 6 mana 4/4 vigilance by itself doesn't do a great deal. You need the equipment. I'm gonna go 3.
I actually reckon this is kind of a trap card.
Can see it.
It probably looks good at face value, but you need so much stuff for this to actually be decent. And then, do you want to be casting a 6 mana 4/4 in an aggressive deck? I don't know the aggressive format yet, but in Tarkia, I would give this like a 1. In this, it's hard to say. But look, I may be going like a 2.5. I think it might be a bit of a trap.
Yeah, I'm coming back down to 2.5. Convince me.
So 2.5 for Heath and 2.5 for Shirls.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I think looking at it, and we're very comparative to previous sets where cards like this, they kind of stink. We've got much higher power. I think being reminiscent of a core set, cards like this could be quite good where you've got a bunch of artifacts sitting on the battlefield after your equipments and everybody's trading resources, and then you play this and soup it up to be this super thing. Again, it depends on what artifacts and equipments we see, but I could see this being anywhere from a 2 to a 3.5, so I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay, Cloudbound Moogle. 5 mana creature. It's not legendary. Flying. When it enters, put a +1/+1 on target creature. It has plane cycling. So by itself, it can be a 3/4 flyer for 5. Plane cycling. I think this is just a solid common. Gonna give this a 2.5.
So it's worth noting every color has a land cycling. So there's a black swamp cycling, a green forest cycling. They're all pretty decent from what I saw briefly. Again, comparing this with like Dragonstorm of Tarkia, I think this is a very mid card, but maybe this is way better than we think it is because it's a 5 mana 2/3 flyer that can buff whatever you need it to buff. So yeah, I think this is probably a 2.5, maybe even a 3, but we'll go. Actually, I'm going to go 3 just on the plane cycling.
Yeah, I agree with Heath. The cycling for land cards see legacy play, especially the Lord of the Rings one. I think it could be quite powerful in a limited set, being able to either get a land or have the upside of having a creature attached to that as well.
I like this card. I'll be playing it, but I think I'm not rating it as high as you guys. Plane cycling for 2 is just a bit much, and it's just fine. So I'm just going to give it a 2.
All right, our first mythic, and it's Cloud Midgar Mercenary. A double white legendary creature, human soldier mercenary, and it's mythic. When Cloud enters, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. I mean, we always known in previous sets, what was that card that got Auric Steel Shaper or something? That was a very highly sought after get an equipment card, so this could be very good. As long as Cloud is equipped, and if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional time, and it's a 2/1. Yeah, look, again, in the right deck, I think this is like a 5 almost. In a vacuum, it's probably pretty weak. But look, I'm going to go 4.
Yeah, I mean, tutor effects are generally quite good. It's going to depend on what equipments and stuff we see, so that could change. If at face value, I'm also going to give it a 4. It could be a 3.5, but again, it depends what equipments and abilities we see.
I just think it's really weird that its last bit of text is equipment attached to it. It triggers additional time when you've got a mechanic that requires you to play it and they trigger and you make dudes. It doesn't really work with Cloud, so that's a bit puzzling, but I'm just going to give this maybe a 2.5. It's a good build around, but I can't imagine it being that great.
I'm with you, Nath. I think a 2-mana 2/1 double white. Find your best equipment. Pretty good, but 2.5.
Yeah, when you say double white, like that probably worth a half off at least. So I might change mine to
Yeah.
3.5.
I'm sticking to 4. I have confidence this card could be good.
Or Cloud.
Yeah, I know. Poor Cloud.
Right, so we have, geez, forgive my pronunciation, Coel. Curl?
I was thinking who
Yeah,
gets
you
the
can't even make it
unlucky
up.
of putting that one out.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was sitting there, I was embarrassed myself in front of everybody. It is a 2-mana cat beast common, 1 and a white, tap target, non-enchantment creature.
The tapper.
Yeah, the tapper, pretty bland. Tap effect. Look, I'm going to give it a 2. I think you could play it. It's a little better than filler because it has an ability, but you probably draft it and then put it in the deck when you run out of cards to play.
Yeah, 2.
I think this card's gonna be great against red white and not much else. Like against the equipment heavy deck, this card could be great, but against the rest of the set, like the green white or control, it's probably crap. Gonna go 2 as well.
Yeah, I think 2 at the top end. I'm going to go 1.5 because it's got a condition on it. I mean, even if it was just tap target creature, it would be still shit. But with the fact that he can't even tap a saga, and that makes it even worse. So I'm going to go 1.5.
All right, we have what is it? Short sword, crystal fragments, 1 white for artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 with an equip cost of 1, which I like. It then has the ability to pay 7, 2 of it being white, to flip into Summon Alexander, which has 3 chapters on it. The first 2 is prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn. And then it has tap all creatures your opponents control, and it's a 4/3 flying. So much text.
Sorry, just quickly, it's damage dealt to creatures only, not yourself.
Sorry, damage dealt to creatures you control this turn. Right, my apologies. Look, I don't think you're flipping this often, but I think I just like this as short sword in the equipment decks. I think it's going to be insane. Imagine a curve where you have this and the lifelink guy, Steiner. Yeah, pretty nuts, I think. So I think this will play pretty decent. I'll still give it a 2.5, but I could see it being a 3 or higher.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3. I guess it looks solid. Cheap, buffs your creatures, obviously, and can give you a free, quote unquote, free 4/3 flyer. Yeah, I don't know how often you're gonna get the third chapter, but I'll give it a 3 out of 5.
I agree, 3 out of 5. I think it's got exactly where you want to be in the aggro deck, but again, I don't know how. If flipping it seems rare, but yeah, I think it's worth a 3.
I'm gonna go slightly higher. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think like you'll play it every time you draft it. You'll play this card in all of the decks except for like control and mid-range. I think it's very solid.
Delivery Moogle, 4 mana white creature. It's got flying. When it enters, search your library and or graveyard for an artifact card with mana value 2 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle. Jeez, this card's kind of hard to evaluate, to be honest.
Gets
4
you the
mana,
short sword.
yeah, 4 mana 3/2 fly, get an artifact. I think it could be okay. I'm going to give this a 3.
I agree, 3.
3.
All right, another rare. So we got Dion, Bahamut's Dominant. 3 colors, 1 white, legendary creature. Rare, Dragonfire, Dive. During your turn, Dion and other knights you control have flying. When Dion enters, create a 2/2 white knight token. And then you can pay 6 mana and flip him over to a Saga, Bahamut, Warden of Light. 3 counters, Wings of Light, put a +1/+1 on each creature you control. Those creatures gain flying until end of turn. And then on turn 3, it's Giga Flare, destroy target permanent, exile Bahamut, and then return it to the battlefield. So you can just keep doing it over and over again. So, I mean, to me, this card looks nuts. I mean, 4 mana, makes another 2/2. It's a 3/3 already. Yeah, like I'm giving this like a 4.5.
Yeah, jeez, it seems quite powerful at 4 mana to get 2 creatures and then to flip it, buff those creatures, and then get to flip it again. I think it's a 4, but I'm real close to a 4.5.
Yeah, it's almost bomb territory, this one.
I think this is
Yeah.
just a bomb, right? This is
Yep.
just a bomb.
Yep.
Sorry, Nathan.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's all right. I agree. I'm gonna 4.5 around that area as well.
Yeah, I'm a
Very, very
4.5. I think this card's great.
Yep.
Dragoon's Lance. It is a 2-mana uncommon equipment. Job select. This is the first job select I believe we've seen. It could be relevant. When this equipment enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token and then attach this to it. So very similar to the Mirrodin mechanic, I believe. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is a knight in addition to its other types. During your turn, equipped creature has flying. And Gaybog, equip 4. I'm not 100% sure on what that last part is. Is that flavor?
It's just
that's
it's just a
flavor
quick
text
4.
there.
Yeah.
That's what the weapon
Right,
is
so
called.
it's perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Flavor expert comes in.
Yeah, I mean, at face, it's a 2-mana 1/1 hero that has, so it's a 2-mana 2/1 because it gets +1/+0, and it's a knight, and it's a flyer during your turn. I think it's fine. You probably play it. You're equipping 4. Look, I'll give it a 2. I don't think it jumps out at me straight away. I'm happy to be wrong on that, but I'm going to give it a 2.
I'm actually going to give this a 3. I think this is going to be a big player in the aggro decks and also the blue-white deck. And imagine just like flickering this with your Chocobo and recasting it and just getting flyers. Like, I think this is going to be pretty good, pretty sought after.
I think I'm closer to a 3 than a 2. If the equip cost was lower, obviously it would be way better. I think it's great. Yeah, I'll go 3.
The thing that's good about this card is it makes whatever you attach it to a knight and then gives it flying. So the equipment cost at 4 is and cards that often read only have an effect in your turn are usually a lot shitter than you think they are. Like, only has first strike on your turn, only has flying on your turn. You think, oh, it's a flyer, but then it doesn't have flying when your opponent's attacking, and sometimes that's really bad. So, look, I think it's probably a 2.5.
Right. Dwarven Castle Guard. 1 and a white for a dwarf soldier. 2/1. When this creature dies, create a 1/1 hero. This is just fine. Fine playable. There's not much more to say. I'll just say a 2.
1.5.
2.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2 as well.
Fate of the Suncrist. It's a 5-mana instant, but it costs 2 less if it targets a tap creature, destroy target non-land permanent. Pretty flexible. So what's it cost? 3 if it targets a tap creature. 3's not 2. They usually cost 2. Or lately they have been. I'd give this a 2.5.
Yeah, the thing that makes this card
Is that
different from what Shells is talking about, the normal effects of this is it makes it a 2-mana, is this destroys non-land permanents. It's not just creatures. So at common, this could actually be really good. So I'm going to give it a 3.
I agree with
I
Heath.
reckon. Oh, sorry, you first.
You're right, mate. You're right. I agree with Heath in a removal light set. I think cards like this are really worth their weight in gold, and the fact that it's permanent gives it that little bit extra as opposed to creature. So I'm going to give it a 3 as well.
I reckon most like good-ish removal that you get at common and uncommon, I'm putting around a 3. So this is just fine. It's 3 for me.
Yeah, and like as we're saying, we don't know all the sets yet, so you might look back at this card and say it's like a 4 because white might not have many good removal spells. We just haven't seen them yet. But yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
where we are right
Sometimes this
now.
card in other sets is quite bad. So, but yeah, we'll see.
From father to son. It's a rare. It's a 1 colorless, it's 1 white. Sorcery. Search your library for a vehicle card. Put it into your hand. If this spell was cast from your graveyard, then you can put it on the battlefield instead with flashback 4 and triple white. Look, I'm putting this card as like a 2. 1.5.
Any reasoning behind that?
I mean, well, we haven't even seen one vehicle yet. I mean, I feel like, like, what's this, a build-around card? Like, I mean, get your best vehicle for 2 mana. I don't know, seems fine. The flashback at triple white for 7's like meh. Hey, I'm 1.5.
I'm going to do that thing that they do at Channel Fireball, how they give it 2 ratings, and I think it's either a 2.5 or like a 4. I think.
You guys are bugging.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2.5.
This card sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, Nate.
can't rate it without knowing what the vehicles are. So again, it's a build around. It's probably an F at most. Sorry, a 0 at most of the time.
Oh,
but
he
if you get a
zeros
big
it.
vehicle.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna give
I
it a
reckon-
0.5. Like,
That's
how many? Like, this is what? Are you even gonna want to search for a vehicle ever?
Yeah,
You put
absolutely.
it into
Sure.
your hand. Not
You
even
get to
a bad
cast it a
deal.
second time and put it on the battlefield later in the game.
Yeah, like I'm being generous at 1.5.
After you've drawn it.
I think this card sucks.
Wait till we get to the colorless cards. You guys are going to come back to this.
Alright.
Okay.
Gaily Cat.
Gaily.
It is. Can you give me cards that I can say, please?
No.
Wait
It
for
is
my
a-
next one, man.
It is a 3-mana creature common. It has a 1/3 flying vigilance. As long as you control 2 or more artifacts, this creature gets +2/+0. In the red-white artifacts deck, this could be pretty good. Doesn't jump out as me as something amazing, but a 3/3 fly for 3 seems pretty okay, so I'll give it a 2.
Yeah, I reckon this might be more a 2.5, only because this also goes in the white blue deck as well, and I think just a 3/3 defensive body that can attack in for 3 mana seems alright. So 2.5.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 2.5. If you have this turned on, this card's kind of a banger. Like a 3/3 flying vigilance for 3 could be quite good. Takes a bit to set up. 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a core white common. This might be a 3, but it's hard because we're really comparing to such a high power level set from Dragonstorm of Tarkir that in Dragonstorm I would rate this so low, but maybe this is...
Would ya? A 3-mana 3/3 flying vigilance, pretty good for 3 mana.
But you need 2 artifacts
Against
to make
the
it a 3/3
dragons.
flyer. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not one artifact. If it was control and artifact, I think it's an easy 3.
Nah, fair
But
point.
2 artifacts.
If you go short sword into 2-mana artifact into a 3/3 flying vigilance, it's a pretty good curve. So
Yeah,
Short sword. This is a
I'm
4/4.
giving it a 2.5.
sure.
All right, next card. I didn't really play Final Fantasy 14, so I have no idea how to say this guy's name. Garihatia? I don't know.
Graha.
Graha. Yeah, I was thinking Graha.
Graha. 4 and a white for a legendary creature. Cat Archer has reach. It's a 3/5. Whenever one or more other creatures and or artifacts you control die, draw a card. This triggers only once each turn. Look, it's probably actually fine. Maybe this 2.5 or a 3, like getting a bit of value when your things die. It's not a bad body. Yeah, I'll give it a 3.
2.5.
Yeah, I mean, anything that says draw a card is usually pretty good. The body and mana cost is weak. 3/5 for 5 is not great.
It's a big butt though.
But it kind of makes it like you have to kill it or you're going to let your opponent draw a card, so it might be good. And there's also the black-white sacrifice deck, so look, I'm going to give this a 3. But it might be a 3.5. Yeah. Alright, just got to go to the next page.
First 20 done.
Righty. Machinus Arsenal, 5-mana equipment. Job select, so when it enters, make a 1/1 and attach it. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 for each artifact you control. Wow. And is an artificer. And the equip cost is 4. So immediately it's a 3/3. Oh man, this is a tough one to evaluate. If you have a few artifacts, this card could be really strong, turning any token into a massive threat. I'm gonna give this high rating. I think this is like a 4.
Ooh,
I reckon this
4.
could be really good.
Yeah, again, very synergistic card. I know that there's an Artificer Matters deck. I think it's the blue-white deck, where like there's creatures that get bonuses from being artificers as well, so that could be relevant too. Yeah, look, I think Again, it's the equipment cost at 4, and it costs 5. Like 5 mana for in a vacuum. 5 mana for a 3/3 is so
5 mana
bad.
3/3. If you have one other artifact, it's a 5 mana
5/5,
5/5, and like you can make anything +4/+4 with just one other artifact.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3.5, just on the mana cost of it.
I'm with Shells. I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's very solid.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4 too. This looks insane.
Magitech armor. 3 in a colorless, 1 white artifact vehicle. When it enters, create a 1/1 hero, and it's got crew 1. Look, to me, this reads like a pretty shit uncommon. Kind of reads like a common with that text. I give this like a 2.5.
I think it's 2.5 as well. I think it's slightly better than it looks. Making the 1/1 creature. Hero might be relevant as a type, but being able to then defend with the vehicle, with the crew, I think it's a 2.5 for me.
Well,
But
we know
very
what we
close
can
to a 3.
search up. We know what we can search up with
If
that
you
other
open
card
that
now.
rare.
Yeah, that's it. We're popping off.
I'm gonna go slightly higher at a 3, just because I know how well there was a similar card 2 sets ago.
Eighth
5
Adrift.
mana 5/4.
Yeah, but it
I
made a
can't remember what it was
Thopter,
called.
and it was a 5/4, and that was a
That
common.
is a good point, but this is one less, and the artifacts really seem to matter. We're seeing a lot of artifact matters cards, so I'm just gonna say this might be a 3. Could be wrong. It's probably a 2.5.
I'm going low. I think it's a 1.5. A 4 mana 4/4 that's not a creature. You have to like turn it on. It really depends on how relevant the artifact type is for me. I'm going low. 1.5.
Yeah.
Magitech Infantry. It is a 1 mana common robot soldier artifact creature. This creature gets +1/+0 as long as you control another artifact. 2 and a white. Search your library for a card named Magitech Infantry. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Oh, it's an interesting one. It seems like a solid 1-drop in the red-white artifacts deck. Like it's an artifact. It gets buffed by other artifacts, and then you can search for multiple if you have it. I think it's fine as a 1-drop. Jeez, I think you play it. I think you want multiple. It gets better in multiples, so I want to give it a 3, but it might not be good enough, so I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say in the red-white deck. I instantly go to the black-white and the white-blue one. Like being able to search dudes to sacrifice in that deck will be nuts. I think you'll be happy to play any number of these. I'll give it a 2.5 though, but you're happy to pick them up.
I'm gonna go a 2. That ability costs a bit too much for what you get, so 2.
Yeah, I think this is another trap card. In draft, like, do not draft this card. Unless you get like 5 of them, it's going to be so crap. In sealed pool, if you've got like 3 and in your right deck, it's probably maybe playable if you've got 3, but I actually think this is like a 1. I think this card is mid-as.
Really?
I could see that.
I just want to comment on that. I think it's in the aggressive deck, right? At worst, it's a 2 mana. It's a 1 mana 2/1. If you have other artifacts, I think like for curve reasons, you could curve out with this and do some
At
damage.
worst, it's a 1 mana 1/1.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not putting in your deck unless you can search for more artifacts.
I don't think
right?
the search feature is as relevant. I think it's more sort of I've got an artifact creature. I'm going to play another artifact, and
But
it's
I mean,
going to be a 2/1.
we don't know the other 1-drops yet, but a 1 mana 1/1 that has a conditional to make it a 2/1 is trash. I mean, it's terrible. And to draft this card, I think, is a total trap. Like, if you're seeing them at the end and you're like picking up a few copies or something, cool. But to think you're going to build a deck around this and then you just don't see any more, you're going to just ruin your draft picking these cards.
Do
I
you
think it's
remember the last time we had the search mechanic on a card like this though? That card was nuts.
The black mark,
Like, I
the
can't-
one
the
colorless
black
one. Yeah, yep.
And it's put on
I
the
could
battlefield too. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I was
reckon
even
this is good.
just I was just rating it as an aggressive card in a format that's supposed to be slow. So I haven't seen
Makes it okay.
Yeah, Battlefield like
No, we'll find out. This will
Mm.
be an interesting one to watch.
yeah.
I've lost the order. Where are we
Oh,
at?
this is
Nathan
me.
Jones, yeah.
Minwoo, white mage, 3 and double white for a legendary human cleric 3/3. Vigilance lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on each cleric you control. It's insane with Aerith if you pick up the 2 rares. Look, its rate's probably a little low for me. I'm actually just gonna give it a. Oh, I don't know. What do you?
I
went-
don't think this is very good. I don't unless there's many
You don't think
clerics.
it's good?
I think this card sucks.
All the life linkers we've seen so far have been clerics, I believe.
It's a 2.5
Set
or a
for
3.
Steiner.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say a 2. I think
I'm going 1.5.
Whew.
1.5.
2, 1.5. What did you say, Heath?
Well, it's tough. It's another one of those hard cards. Like a 5
If
mana
there's lots of
3/3
clerics, this
is
card's
so
awesome,
crap.
but
I mean, I'm
yeah,
just
5
looking
mana.
at it as raw stats. Like a 5 mana 3/3. If there's like a bunch of red spells that are just like deal 3 damage or like -3/-3 or something, then this is going to be so bad. But if we're not going to see a lot of removal, this is the kind of card that if it doesn't get answered, just can take over the game potentially. So, look, I think it's in the life gain deck, it's probably like a 3.5. In a normal deck, in a vacuum, I think it's like a 2.5. So I'm just going to say 2.5.
How happy are you? Pick one, like opening your first booster, and this is your rare.
I'd be sad if this was
And
my opening.
it depends on how many
Yeah.
clerics there's, right? And I think that's what Sherlock said. Many good point. I think this is a
Yeah.
fantastic commander card. All the commander guys are like freaking out over this. But if there's a lot of cleric support, then it can be a great top end finisher. But we haven't seen many, so I'm going to give it a 2. I don't love it.
One thing that this card reminded me of as well is we are really seeing a lot of legendaries even at common and uncommon. And that actually really needs to come in consideration when we're ranking them, because if you've got uncommons at legendary and you're playing multiple copies, you could definitely end up in positions where you can't play your other one and you're just holding it in
Very
hand.
true.
So that's an important thing to know when you're drafting. That legend rule really can come into play at the lower rarities.
Moogle's Valor, 5 mana instant. Look at those bros.
The Moogs.
For each creature you control, create a 1/2 white Moogle creature token with lifelink. Then creatures you control gain indestructible till end turn. So for each creature you control, you get a 1/2, and give everything indestructible. It's half. It's obviously a good trick, but it's quite expensive. It's only good if you have a good board state. I'm going to give this a 2.
I think this is another trap kind of card where you think it looks really good, but if you're the go wide strategy where you've got a lot of creatures, giving everything indestructible is kind of meh. You really need to give them more power because you're trying to trade out. The indestructible is kind of not that big of a deal. And then it's also one of these cards at 5 mana where if you're like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop attack, and then like keep up 5 mana, opponent is going to be like, well, he's got Moogle's Valor. Like it's such a readable rare. Yeah, I'm low. I think also around a 2. Yeah.
The ceiling is like really high, but there could be times where you rip this off the top and you've got a bunch of equipments on the field, or you've got nothing, and you're like, cool, this does actual dick. So I'm going to give it a 1.5. I think it's
1.5 might even be right.
Yeah, I'm 1.5.
Because when you say it like that, CJ, that because it only makes a 1/2s when you already have creatures, it's also a trap card in the sense of it's a card that's almost like if you're already winning, you just win some more. Yeah, so I think you might be right.
There's turns
1.5.
where like you've got 4 creatures on the board and you hold up 5 mana, and then you make 4 1/2s and they're all indestructible, right? But like that's the ceiling. Like what the floor? Like you just do nothing.
Nothing.
And it's the same as any trick. All tricks floor is terrible, but this is a bad trick.
All right, Paladin's Arms. An artifact equipment, 2 and a colorless, 1 white. It's got the job select mechanic. Equipped creature is +2/+1 and has ward 1, and it is a knight in addition to its other types. So we're definitely seeing a white knight theme throughout these. Look, a 3 mana 3/1 is 3/2, sorry, is pretty meh. And again, the equip costs are just killing me. The 4 mana equip is just in a slow format. Yeah, it's probably okay, but on face value, to me, this card, 3 mana 3/2 is just meh as, and yeah, 4 is just so much. So I think I'm just going to go 2.5.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like ward 1 is nice. Like, yeah, the job select mechanic it seems quite okay. So I'll be around the same 2.5.
Yeah, I'm 2.5 as well. I reckon though the argument with the high equip cost is you need to read these as creatures that when they die they drop this. Are you happy to pay 4 after it dies? And I think you are. So I think these cards are a little bit better than they look, but yeah, 2.5.
I think you'd be happy to play like one of these in your deck. I don't think it's that good though. Maybe a 2.
Like going back to the Mirrodin from that Phyrexia set or whatever, I just remember so many games where you'd play these equipments and you just end up in board states with 3 equipments with no creatures. The equipments cost so much to equip, so even when you do play a creature, like maybe you can only equip 1. So it's like, it's a bit of a catch-22 sometimes, because you are essentially getting a low-powered creature to then carry on this equipment, but again, the equipment might be really good. Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen with this set, right? Where all your stuff with things are going to die, and then we roll back to Cloud, my man, where you play Cloud and has 10 equipments on him.
Nah, that wasn't Cloud. That was
That was the 6 drop, wasn't it?
yeah, the 4/4 vigilance.
Sorry, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Right, Phoenix Down. It's a 1 mana uncommon artifact with 1 and a white. Tap. Exile this artifact. Choose 1. Return target creature card with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Exile target skeleton, spirit, or zombie. Interesting card. It's I don't know how often you're going to cast or do the second half of this. This is just a 3 mana reanimate, essentially with 4 or less to the battlefield. Could be quite strong. I'd probably give this a 3 in the black-white graveyard deck. It looks pretty solid. Most reanimate spells are 4 mana at least. 3 mana, it seems quite okay. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.
The one downside to this, it says exile this artifact. So if there's any sacrifice synergies, it doesn't even really work that well in the black-white. But I think, yeah, it's probably a 2.53, that territory.
I don't like this card. I think this is a 1.5. Good sideboard card potentially if you're playing best of 3.
I totally agree. It's very conditional. Doesn't really do anything. If it got any creature back, yeah, we're looking at some straight gas. But I think I'm with Shell's 1.5 at best, maybe even a 1.
1, yeah.
It's really hard to tell, like, unless we know exactly what we can get back from this.
But I mean, like,
you've actually convinced me. Maybe it is just a 2 for now.
Like in an aristocrat style deck, getting back creatures of value is your whole game plan, right? Like in that style of deck, it's high, but in all the other decks, it's probably pants. But
yeah, it's gonna be hard. I don't know. All right, Restoration Magic is 1 white for an instant, and I love the design of these cards. So
Me
it's got
too.
tiered, which is a new mechanic. It says choose an additional 1. You can cast Cure for no additional cost. Target permanent gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Cura for 1 additional cost. It's the same, but you gain 3 life. And then Curaga is 3 and a white. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. You gain 6 life. Yeah, this is just like Blossoming Defense or Snakeskin Veil, right? Without the counter. Getting the
With
life
massive
slightly
upside.
worse. Massive upside of Curaga, I guess, and protecting everything. This is a hard one to evaluate. I think it's fine. I think you'd be happy to play this. I'll give 2.5. I think.
Yeah, fair call. Obviously you're mainly going to cast it for 1 mana. And
then the
Snakeskin Veil.
occasional blowout in combat.
Exactly. Oh man, I was
Yeah.
thinking of giving this a 3, but you're not really going to do that very often, I don't think. I'm
Yeah.
going to go 2.5.
Without knowing the other defensive tricks in the format, this might end up being one of the better cards at the trick level. Look, the second and third modes, you're not going to be playing them too often. It's really just the second mode, just like if I have the mana, I'll gain the 3 life. Like I think this is just like 2.5.
I'm going to go higher though. I think it's 3. I can guarantee you, I'm going to play someone playing this card. They're going to cast it, and it's going to make me want to do bad things. It's going to make me salty as. So I think it's just as good, if not better, than Snakeskin. So
You getting salty?
Would you say this is a number 5 for tilt?
Rosa, Resolute White Mage, 4 mana legend. With reach, it's a 2/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control against lifelink till end of turn. So basically it starts as by itself, it can be a 3/4 with reach. It just gets bigger. I think this card's quite good. It's yeah, I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
I mean, one thing that screams out about this card, and we've sort of touched on it a couple times about this, is sort of giving core set vibes. When it says reach, this creature can block creatures with flying. It really does remind you that they are focusing this set on a lot of new players as well. But yeah, I think the card itself is fine. I think 3.5 is a good fair rating.
Rosa, Rosa, Rosa. I think it's good. It's really close to a 4, but looking back at some of the other cards, yeah, I want to give it a 4. I think it could be really, really good, especially in a slower thing and like just making all your other stuff bigger. But I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
I'm totally way higher on this. Like, this is all the +1/+1 counter cards in the last like 10 years have just been absolute bomb level. At the beginning of combat, putting a 1/1 counter or 2 1/1 counters on
Locks it on
each
Battle
turn.
Priest.
But it also gives it lifelink, so they just can't race you at all. I think this is a 4.5. I think this is insane.
4.5.
This
Yeah,
is
we just
insane.
had
You get a
we
1/1
just had-
counter every turn.
We just had a borderline unplayable 3/5 for 5 do the same thing.
It did give lifelink. I mean, the thing that let Battle Priest out was that it couldn't put the counter on itself. That's what made that card so bad. But
that's yeah.
It also
This
didn't have
is
reach
on
as
any
well.
like what's Luminous Aspirant or whatever was absolute
That's a
bonkers.
2-drop, brother.
I know it's a bit
Yeah.
slower, but it's
Yeah,
got
look,
I can see
slightly
where
bigger
Nathan's
body.
coming
yeah,
from.
I can get what you're saying.
I do too.
But
Absolutely.
4.5,
Like,
man,
I'm
that's
just-
like
I'm-
that's a play the card, basically win the game. Like,
You've put this
I don't
on the
think that's
same
that.
level as Dion.
Well, Outpost Siege that put two counters wasn't a creature, and that was the Outpost Siege? No, what was the one in Tarkia? One of the sieges would just put
The Menace one.
Citadel Siege.
Oh, the black-white one.
No, that's Hollow
it's from
Merc.
10 years ago.
Oh,
It was
okay.
2 and 2 white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come on, mate.
But anyway,
I'm gonna just change mine quickly to a 4. Nathan's convinced me in whatever he just said.
Okay. I'm sticking at 3.5. So there's a side quest, I think, at every color in Uncommon. So this is the white one. So 2 colors and a white. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you put a card into your hand this way, create a food token and transform this enchantment. It then flips over to Cooking Campsite, which is a land, and it adds 1 white mana, and you can pay 3 and sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, activate only as a sorcery. I'm kind of my initial thoughts on this is, again, a little bit of a trap card maybe. A 3 mana that could possibly do nothing for multiple turns. Like, I get that you get to look at the top card of your library, but if you don't see an artifact or creature card, it's a 3 mana do nothing. And it's going to do nothing until you see something. And then, I mean, let's imagine best case scenario, you play it for 3, you reveal something, it flips over to a land. Yeah, you're going to ramp up to that 5 mana possibly. And the flip side of it is okay. Look, I'm going to give this like a 2. I really don't think it's that good.
I got a little excited when I first started reading it, but then after I sort of thought about it, yeah, you're probably right. Like playing this for 3 mana and missing or even hitting the creature and flipping it, like, it's like okay to okay. The second half is really interesting. Sacrifice an artifact to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I mean, the upside of that could be something there, but 2, but with the possibility to be a 3.
I'm going to 1.5. I'm changing mine.
Okay,
1.5.
I'm going to stick to 2.
Wait for my answer, Heath.
yeah, this is really, really hard to evaluate because I can see a world you play this and you just haven't played a
0.5.
3-drop and you just are so far behind. But in the same way, like, its land effect is so good. Like, even like if you've got a random equipment that the creature has died and just sack that, put 1/1 counters on everything else. I don't know. It's like a solid build around 3, but it's gonna play real bad sometimes, I think.
What score do you give it now?
2.5. I really don't know. It's too hard.
Alright, I'm going to give this a 0.5.
Yeah, me too.
This
I
is
want to
why.
change mine.
Yeah, go.
Alright, so on turn 3, you've got one creature probably on average, right? In a white deck, you got a 2-drop. On turn 3, you're going to do nothing. Play this. You may flip it in 2 turns. At best, you can flip it next turn. And then you got to pay 3 mana to sack it and put a +1/+1 counter on 1 creature. So like on turn 3, this card sucks. In the late game, maybe it does something. I think this card's crap.
You know what? This card would be okay if it was like you could play it as the land or the thing. Then like it would be gas.
Yeah.
But like you
And
have
in
to
the
do
late game,
stuff.
for 1 mana does not matter.
It's so
this
bad.
card's no
Yeah,
good.
I'm changing 0.5 as well. It's the more and more I think about it, worse it gets.
Alright. I'll go to a 1.5.
Do not go fishing while you're trying to play Magic.
Nathan took a whole point off there. I'm going to stick to 2.
Yeah.
I think the card has upside, but it has.
I'm going rogue on that, I guess. Like,
No, I totally agree. It's terrible.
Yeah.
My grade is purely like it is a real big build around. It can be insane, but in most
If you're trying to go
Often.
fishing and not play Magic, then sure.
yeah.
Who's up?
Is it my turn?
It's up to me, I believe.
Oh, you. Yep. Go for
Did
it.
you just did the side quest there, Heath?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slash of Light, 2 mana, instant, common. Slash of Light deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of equipment you control to target creature. Oh man, conditional removal sucks. But this could also do like 4 or 5 damage. I mean, I want to give it somewhere in the regions of like 1.5 to 2.5, but like
It's a 2.
it could just do 0. Like in the aggressive low curve deck, yeah. Look, I'm going to give it a 2, but I could very easily see it being a 1.5.
2.5 for me. It's going to play like a 3 in the right deck though.
Was that 2 shells?
2. Yep.
Look, I in previous sets before Tarkia, I always thought these cards were pretty shit. Coordinator Remover in Tarkia in that set has been a really high remover. I mean, it also has the Destroy Enchantment effect. I think I'm actually going to make this like a 1.5. I think it's not good. Yeah.
All right, Snow Villas, 2 and a white for a legendary creature, human rebel monk. Vigilance for a star 3. His power is equal to the number of creatures you control. So he's by himself a 1/3. This is going to be pretty good in green white. I can't imagine pretty much anywhere else, so I'll just give it a 2.5. Fine playable.
Yeah, I'm just going to go 2 on this one. I don't think it's that good.
Something that's freaking me out about these cards is we have seen like 6 or 7 cards with Vigilance on it already. That really freaks me out as a red-white aggro player in most limited formats. That just going to make it so hard to play aggro against these sort of Vigilance decks. So, like, I think this card's mid-as. I think it's like for an uncommon as well. I mean, I think it's like a 2.
Give it a 2.5. It reminds me of that one from the previous set. That's it doesn't have the mechanic where it makes tokens, but
I think that's why that card's good though, right? Because it actually is a 2/3 kind of by itself.
yeah,
That's why I think this card's not as good. But anyway,
Vigilance, like he said though, Vigilance is such a pain in the
It's
ass.
so
I'm
irritating.
just
In
gonna give that little
limited,
point, yeah,
it can be so powerful.
I'm just gonna give it that little extra point for that. Sorry, Nathan, what did you give it again?
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, moving on.
Stiltskin, Moogle Merchant. Oh, I've seen this card. It's a
Yeah.
1 mana, 1/2 lifelink. And you can give target opponent a permanent you control for 2 mana. And if you do that, you get to draw a card. I mean, how do you evaluate this card?
You know what this is good with? Sagas.
Sagas.
Liliana's
When it's about to die or something, you can give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not good enough though.
Oh man, I got no idea with this. Anyway, someone help me out. Does
Card
anyone else
shit.
have some thoughts?
Terrible. It's a 1.5.
0.5.
If there's a detrimental thing that you
Oh,
can
it's
give your opponents,
Yeah.
then yeah, sure. Like
But
it
that's so
might be okay.
situational though. Like, how often is that
right,
actually
like-
happening?
It's a 1/2 lifelink.
It's like a constructed card, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll probably go 1.
Yeah. In limited, I don't even want to give the opponent a treasure token. You know, like sometimes that leads to
Yeah.
blowouts. Like,
Oh, you can. Can you sack it? No, you can't. Target opponent gains. No, you can target them, so you can. Yeah, you can sack it and still.
oh, like
it says if they do,
they have to take it. Yeah. See how it's got full
if
stop?
they do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Otherwise, it'd be good. Yeah. I think it's 0.51 in limited. It's great.
Yeah, nah, it's pretty bad.
I'll go 1.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1. I think it's a 1/2 lifelink at best. I think.
Yeah, look, like
Yeah.
as
Yeah,
funny
I'll
as
go
it
with
sounds,
that.
maybe it being a 1-drop 1/2 lifelink is gas. So like if you're getting it in
that's
the
what I'm
right deck, you're just like, oh, this is a great 1-drop. You're like almost never using the other ability. But yeah, like I think it's mid as.
Yeah.
Is there any permanents in the set that hang around, like the sagas or anything like that, that just you'd be like, okay, I can get rid of this now and draw a card? Is it, if there's synergies interactions like that where eventually, and if they're in the same colors, you can say, okay, well,
The
I'm done
biggest
with this.
problem
You
is
can have
that
it, I draw a card, but
in limited, drawing a card is great, but not giving up any advantage because you might just draw a land or like something you really don't want. So I find in limited, anything that's like kill target creature. I put this in the same kind of realm as kill anything, give him a 1/1. It's like I don't want to give him a 1/1. I just want to kill something. Like I don't want to give him anything.
what about those things like when this enters, search for a land, and then once that's done, you've just got this artifact, and then eventually you can be like, you
Well,
can have this, I'll draw a card.
There's the equipment that cost a bajillion mana to equip. Once the creature's died, you can give them that as well.
Yeah,
I think there's a world where this is actually pretty decent, but 1.5 for now, and move on, I reckon.
Cool.
All right, summon Choco Mog. It's a 3/3 creature saga. It's all 4 modes are Stampede. Other creatures you control get +1 until end of turn. Now, one thing that I realized with these sagas is because the turn you play it, it comes with 1 counter. So the sagas with 4 levels is a lot better than the sagas with 3 levels because you're going to get a whole nother combat step. Because when it's only got 3, you only get really 2 opportunities with the card. So I think this is probably a lot better than it might look, and I'm going to give it a 3.
So just to clarify, when this enters, it is a 3/3 creature and a saga.
Yes, and it starts at 1 straight away.
Yeah, so it'll have the first counter on it, just like you do with all the other sagas.
Yep, and then as soon as the 4th mode ends, like it's gone, it's finished.
Yeah, I mean it's a temporary team-wide buff. It's a 3/3 body. I think it's probably playable. At worst, it's a 3/3 for 3, giving some other things +1.
It's just hard to know with these creature sagas.
I reckon this is going to be absolutely insane in green-white. I'm only going to give it a 2.5, but there is a way in green-white later on that we'll see that you can take the counters off it, so it stays around. So just permanently getting a buff each turn is going to be nuts.
Yeah, I think this might be one of the better commons I've seen in white. I think this is a 3. I reckon this is quite good.
Yeah. It could be a
Yeah, I could say
2.5,
three.
but we haven't really seen many better commons yet, so it might be better than it looks.
Summon Knights of Round. This is 6 mana and 2 whites, so 8 mana. As this saga enters, create 3 2/2 white note tokens, and then on the 5th one, other creatures you control get +2/+2 until the end of turn. Put indestructible counter each of them. I mean, it's 8 mana, but if you cast this, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, this card's insane.
Like, you're probably going to win the game. Getting to 8 mana in a slow format is not as hard as it sounds. Jeez, I think this is really strong. And traditionally, those cards that make 3/2/2s have been pretty strong, and they've also been slow formats. I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's really solid. Just that it loses a little bit points for being 8 mana, but depending on how fast the set is, it could be quite powerful.
Yeah, its power level's like 4.5, right? But it's just, again, the mana cost. I think if you're going to pick it early, think about what type of deck you're building. So, yeah, 4, I guess, but I don't like that grade.
Yeah, it's hard to evaluate which deck this would fit into. Like, it's not an aggro card. And is there any
Green-white?
slow?
There's
Yeah,
a blue-white artifacts deck, yeah.
But is green white going to be on the aggressive side? I don't know.
Yeah.
But obviously this card's stupid good. 3/3 indestructible that makes you just win the game.
Yep.
4 for 8 mana. So I'm gonna give it a 4, deducting like half a point because I'm not really sure where it fits.
Yeah, I think power level of this card's a straight up 5. Like I think you casting this card, like it's got indestructible. Like the chance of killing it is so conditional. It's making essentially 9 2/2s, and then it gives them all +1/+1, so it makes 9 3/3s, and then they all get indestructible. I mean, how are you fighting through that? It's insane.
You just win, right?
Yeah, but at 8 mana, obviously that's the downside of the card. So yeah, power level 5, overall cards probably like. Look, I personally think 8 mana is pretty nutty, so I'm going to give this a 3.5.
Alright, next one. Summon Primal Garuda, which is an enchantment creature Saga Harpy for 3 and a white. Saga 1, or Stage 1, it deals 4 damage to target tapped creature an opponent controls. And then 2 and 3, another target creature gets +1/+0 and flying until end of turn. This is just a 3, solid. You can take the counters off it later, and we'll show you why later on, and just keep killing something tapped. Yeah, 3. It's good.
It's good. I reckon this is a mythic uncommon. I think this card's awesome. 4 mana, deal 4 to something tapped. It's a 3/3 flyer, and then it does a little bit more. I'm going to give this like at least a 4.
Yeah, the funny thing about this card to me is it's kind of doesn't know where it's fitting, because if it reads as an aggressive card, right? Because it's 3/3 flyer, gives something else +1 attack and gives it flying, but it only kills a tapped creature. So it's sort of a little bit funny. It's a bit clunky in that way, because if you're aggro, they might not be tapping the creatures to attack you, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's obviously a great card. I think 4 is right though. 4 is good. Yeah.
I just see this as a removal spell, not as a creature or an aggressive card. I see this as like a deal 4 to a tap creature, and then you've got a 3/3 flyer, like almost like a Chupacabra.
But the deal 4,
you
you have to take the damage. That's the usually card effects are deal to taps.
It's not like the removal's conditional, but it's good. I think it's good.
Yeah.
What would you rate Chupacabra? Like, just so I'm getting
4.5.
Yeah, 4.
A 4?
4.5.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd go 3.5 then. Sorry, I'm going to change my grade.
I 100% agree with Shaz. Like it's a you see this, you're like, removal spell, but I also get a 3/3 flyer. I think it's mythic uncommon as fuck. I can give it a 4.
Yeah, I think you guys are like, I think Skips and Shells are underrating the +1 and gains flying. Like being able to give another guy on your team plus attack and flying is like bonkers sometimes.
I think that's great, but I'm not taking the card for that.
Bonus.
Yeah.
Yep.
I completely agree with you. I think me saying 3 is just getting used to the number system. Like when you guys start saying 4, I'm like, I'll go 3.5.
Yeah.
It's harder when you go first too. The Crystal's Chosen is a 7 mana sorcery. Want to be good? Create 4 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens and put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This card looks unplayable.
No, it's not unplayable.
7 mana.
It makes 4 2/2s.
You get 4 2/2s.
At absolute worst. It's pretty good.
Yeah, 7 mana in aggressive deck. I guess in green white it could be okay. I guess if it's a slower format, this card could be quite good. But yeah, in fact, in a slower format, this card could be a bomb. Imagine just like buffing your whole team and like getting this card could be strong as. But imagine in a faster format where it just does nothing in your hand. I don't know. I'm just gonna split the middle and go 2.5.
Yeah, look, I put this in the same category as that 8 drop, as in the power level of this card is like a 4. Like it's great. Like at worst, 4 2/2s is pretty good, and at best, like buffing a couple other creatures. I mean, you should have some other stuff going on at 7 mana, but at 7 mana, it just makes the card kind of shit. So I think 2.5.
This really depends on the format.
I'm going to say 2. I'm going to 2 on this. A 2.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
If the format's as slow as I think it is, from what I've heard, I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's going to be...
Yeah, it's just so hard to know.
Yeah, I think you're going to get there. I think you're going to be able to cast cards like this.
7 mana, like...
Yeah,
like, really, like, 7 mana, I think it's fair to say that's probably like turn 9 to 10 semi-consistently.
You might have like 3 or 4 creatures on the battlefield, which would make this card so good.
If this plays like a core set and it's just like, you get to those board states where like opponents got 6 creatures, you've got 7 creatures, and it's like you're winning because you've got a 2/2 flyer. I mean, yeah, the card's amazing, and I kind of hope that isn't this format, but time will tell.
From everything that I've heard, Heath, I believe it is. It's going to be very reminiscent of the draft you did the other day.
Yeah, the core set 2021.
Yep, it's going to be exactly like that.
All right, did everyone get in for that one?
2.5.
The wind crystal. So yeah, there's a crystal in every color. They all reduce the spells by 1, and then they've got their own abilities after that. So this one is 2 colorless, double white, legendary artifact. White spells you cost 1 less to cast. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. And you can pay 6 mana. Creatures you control gain flying and lifelink until end of turn. I've seen some of the other ones briefly, and I think the effects on the other ones are a lot better, if I remember right. Like the black one gets creatures back from the graveyard for 6 with a finality counter. Yeah, one of them like maybe does damage, but anyway, I think my biggest hiccup with this card is it costs 4 mana and then it starts reducing spells by 1. It's like, how relevant is that when on my 5th turn I want to be casting like 5 mana, 6 mana spells? So really, how much play is the reduction going to actually have on the game? Look, and gaining life is again like a bit of a trap mechanic. Sometimes it's a bit seductive. You think, oh, gaining life's good, but when you or the opponent has control of the game, it doesn't matter if your opponent's on 40 life. Like, as long as you've got that lockdown, you've got the control, you've got the evasive or whatever, and it's a top deck war, it doesn't matter how much life they've got. Usually, you're just killing them anyway. So I don't know if the double thing is really that good. Look, I'm honestly putting this as like a 2.
Say 2.5. I think it could be okay in the life gain deck. We've seen some big white spells as well, like making those cost less could be okay. You can't stack them, but it's also a rare. So I'm going to go to 2.5. I think you could probably do some crazy things with this, but not too crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a 1, but
1.
a build around with the crystals chosen and summon them Knights around, it's going to be insane. But I'm giving it a 1 because I just think it's shit. It's going to win the game occasionally with flying though, but whatever.
Yeah, I feel the same, Nath. I'll probably get a bit more on that, but I feel the same way.
Same.
We're going to go 2.
Yeah, I think if this card read, when you gain life, gain the same amount again or something like that, so it triggered life gain effects twice.
Double?
That would be
Is that the word you're looking for?
Nah, like it needs to read as though it happens twice, like gain life then gain again,
right, okay.
so that your abilities like get +1/+1 counters or whatever, it triggers them twice.
Yeah.
That would be a lot better
Like
than just gain
double
twice the
strike for
life.
life.
Yeah,
Double life.
If it read like that, it would be, I think it'd probably be pushing like a 2.5, even a 3 in the life gain deck. Just every time you get in, you get 2 counters on all your shit. But yeah, all right. Moving on.
Ultima, 5 mana. I don't know why I'm reading the mana symbol first. 5 mana sorcery. Destroy all artifacts and creatures. End the turn. Oh, I mean, it's limited. It's a wrath. And artifacts too. Jeez, I think it's tickling bomb diggity territory. I'm gonna give this probably. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I think it's a bomb. I think it's a bomb. You see it, you draft it. I think you're gonna take this card.
Yeah, 4.5 for me.
Wow.
4.5.
Wow. I'm definitely lower. One thing I hate about board wipes is it kind of forces your deck to play a certain way. Like, I'm giving this like a, and the end the turn mechanic is quite strange as well because
It like works against you, right?
correct.
Yeah, it does.
Because when you're casting this in your, like, if you're in a board state where, generally you don't want to cast this on 5. You're probably casting this on like turn 8, 9, around then. And you've probably got more than 5 mana, but you don't want to add anything to the board because you're about to kill everything. But when you kill everything, it ends your turn. So you end up with 3, 4 mana that you can't use. I really
You can
don't
use
think
them
this
for
is.
instance, Heath, on your
Oh,
opponent's
you could
turn.
do that. That is true. Or just any
Also,
non-creature spell or non-artifact spell.
the
Look,
end of the turn also stops any like triggers on the stack for death triggers and stuff, which I think is kind of good.
oh, so if it was like when this creature dies, draw a card or something, you wouldn't get that.
Correct.
Yeah, it stops
Yeah,
that.
okay. So that kind of works too. Look, I think like obviously it's a board wipe. It's good. I don't think it's a 4.5. I think when I compare it to the other cards I've already ranked at 4.5, I don't think it's close. This card does not win you the game in a consistent way. I would always rather a threat over a response. So I think this is like I want to say 3.5.
It's a
Mate.
Wrath Unlimited. Like it, how does it?
Yeah.
I don't think it gets better.
Yeah.
And it's even higher than most Wraths. Like most Wraths that just destroy creatures. This gets rid of all artifacts, and like Nathan
Yeah,
said,
the
it
artifact
gets rid of
thing is
all
true.
abilities as well. Like it's a get out of jail free card from your behind. I
I'll,
think
I'll
it's
go to a 4. I was tied on 3.5, but okay, I'll go to 4. But I don't think it's a 4.5.
All right, Venat, Heart of Hedilion. For a legendary Elder Wizard 3/3, whenever you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. This triggers only once each turn. And then 7 to flip it. 7 tap, flip it, flips into indestructible 4/4. At the beginning of combat in your turn, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control until your next turn. It gains indestructible. If it's legendary, draw a card. 5. This card's a 5. It's so good. Maybe not because you have to pay 7. I'll give it a 4.5, but it's so good. It's going to draw you so many cards. Yeah.
Can you show me the other side again, Heath, please?
It's
Indestructible. Okay, so it's indestructible. Yeah, card's quite good, obviously. How many legendaries are there? Cost 7 to make it epic. Oh man, I'm gonna give this a 4.
I agree. I think it's 4. Again, it's a 3/3 for 3. If you just cast one other legendary, it's worth it. If you ever do flip it, I mean, cards like this shit me with the art because it looks like it has flying, but it doesn't have flying.
Yeah, I thought that.
If you flip it, you probably just win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 4/4
Because
indestructible.
it's indestructible.
Yeah, look, I think it's a solid 4. I think it's a solid 4. It could be a 4.5 in the right deck.
I'm giving it a 5. I think it's a bomb. I think it's one of the more powerful cards I've seen. The 7
that's
mana
true.
exile target non-land permanent alone.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, it kills
Exile
something as well.
target,
Okay,
non-land
yeah.
permanent. It is a
Yeah.
body.
I didn't
It
say that
draws
either.
cards and it exiles a permanent. And not only when you exile the permanent, you then get a creature that's probably going to win the game. I think it's an absolute stone cold stunner.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
I'm going up to 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 for me too. It doesn't win the game on the spot, but it's definitely a crusher.
Ooh, the next one's the Mythic Common.
Yeah, I think we need to, like, for me, a 5 is a card that essentially wins the game when you play it. Like, you play it and it's like, it's over.
Like Ureni or Dragonback Assault.
Yeah,
type
Ureni, Dragonback Assault, Jeskai Revelation is very often than not. Even if you don't win the game on that turn, the tempo is so big that you basically win, 95% of the time. Cards like that, yes, it's a great card, but it's not like you play it and you win the game. There's a lot that needs to happen to make it, that 5 rank. So I think 4.5. To me, I'm just saying what I think is a 5 rank.
No, I'm with you on that. So this is the next card.
Yep.
All right, Weapons Vendor, 4 mana, 2/2 white creature. When it enters, draw a card. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control an equipment, you can pay 1 and attach target equipment you control to target creature you control. This is a good card in the red-white deck for sure. Probably even in any white deck. It's a good glue card, draws you a card. Irrelevant body, but good effects. I'm going to give this a 3. Good common.
Yeah, I mean, anything that draws you a card when it comes into play is usually good. The thing that's a little off-putting is a 4 mana 2/2 is not great. But again, like, I'm so used to Tarkir where it's so tempo-based that maybe a 4 mana 2/2 draws a card is perfectly fine. And then the equipment ability is obviously amazing. And at common, to me, this reads like a lot better than a lot of the uncommons we've been seeing. So I'm actually surprised to see this card at common. So I think at common, this is definitely a 3, at least, possibly a 3.5.
I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think a 4-mana draw a card attached to a body is fine enough as it is. But then that second ability really intrigues me. Paying 1 to attach any equipment to any creature, like you could probably do some nutty stuff with that. Most of the lower cost equipments cost 3 or 4 mana, so making them cost 1 seems fantastic. So it's a 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the best white common. So 3.
I like it. It's the best card in the set. I give it a 2.5.
3.
Best white common. I didn't say uncommon or rare. Best white common. It's 3.
White Urusite. 2 colors, double white. Essentially O-ring effect. So when it comes into play, you can exile non-land permanent. And then it also taps for a mana. This card, like, I think the only thing letting this card down is double white. Makes it sometimes awkward to cast. But yeah, I mean, we've seen some big baddies. You know, we've seen that 7-drop sorcery spell. We've seen that 8-drop saga. So, you know, ramping up, killing something, or taking something out of the game, ramping up. So, and again, at common, to me, this really reads like an uncommon. It's you know, I think this is a good. I'm gonna go 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of removal, and I think as we go along too, and we get a grasp of all the colours and see how slow or fast the format can be and what kind of removal is in there. This card looks fantastic. Like exile a permanent and tap for mana. Like, geez, I really want to give it a 4. Like, I think it's really good. Like O-ring has been traditionally good forever, and now it's O-ring with a slight upside. Yeah, it costs 1 more and it's double white, but like ramping as well. I'm gonna give it a 4. I think it's fantastic.
I'm giving it a 3. I think it's fantastic as well. But being an artifact in an artifact matters kind of thing means it can be blown up.
Yeah, double-edged sword.
So, yeah.
I agree with Heath. White Urusite does appear to be a bit of a baddie. I think the mana cost is these effects usually cost 3, so that brings it down a touch for me. I'm going to go. It's still bread and butter removal spell. I'm going to go 3.
Yeah, it's just we haven't seen the fixing yet. We don't know how, but the format's definitely 2 color decks. You know, but I think if this was 3 colors and 1 white, it's an easy 3.5 probably for all of us. But the double white, you think it's nothing, but sometimes it's just so relevant.
I like it in that deck of the high drop cards where you're going up slowly, exile something, but you've
fits
also
perfectly.
Ramp,
and again, at common,
higher, right? Like
you could easily have 2 of these, 3 of these. Yeah, easy.
And then you're casting your 7-8 drops 2 mana turns earlier. Like, it's great.
I've just realized play pattern with this and the Curaga magic. Does that say permanent? Because you could protect this as well.
Yeah,
with
it did.
1 white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, it was even permanent at
Combo.
I think it was permanent even at 1 white. Like it wasn't. You didn't have to go up in the other modes, so you could do even 1 white and save this.
Combo.
You're up, CJ.
All right, White Mage's Staff. It is a 2-mana artifact equipment. Again, job select. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has whenever this creature attacks, you gain 1 life. And is a cleric in addition to its other types. Interesting one. So it's a 2-mana 2/2 with attack gains a life. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, there seems to be some kind of life gainish kind of deck, but I think it's fine. I think I'd give it a 3. I think it's
3.
I think it's a playable card. It's an artifact, gains life, replaces itself. I'll give it a 3.
2.5 for me. You'll be happy to play it, but not unhappy to not play it.
I think at face value this card's very, very mediocre, but the gain of life clause could be super relevant. Hard to say if the life gain deck's a thing or a good deck, so I'm just going to hedge here a bit and go 2.
I totally agree with what Cheryl said. On face value, very mediocre, but the fact that it gains life when it attacks, if you're in that deck where you're getting counters on creatures when you gain life, this is a whole nother counter phase that'll happen pre-combat. So if you've like got this and then gets a +1/+1 counter whenever you gain life, lifelink, etc., and you're attacking, you're getting like counters and then combat damage, counters, and like you just take over so quickly. So it does look very fillerish. but could actually be like a staple 2-drop.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
going to say you want heaps of these in that deck too. Like this will just be a super
It'd be,
glue card
it'd
in
be your
that deck.
2-drop, right?
We do have to remember that life gain deck is only at rare only because all the payoffs are at rare.
Yeah.
No,
So
there was
it's not gonna happen
one
often.
the first card. One of the first card we reviewed, I thought, was +1/+1
No, that's
counters.
rare, Aerith.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
But it's could be like a mystery deck that you could open and draft. So
Yeah, it's really hard to value all the 2-drop, especially like 1-drop and 2-drop slots, because generally they're like weaker because then they cost 1 or 2 mana. But without knowing every other 2-drop, it's hard to really say where it sits. But yeah, I think what did I give my rating, CJ?
No, you haven't yet.
Yeah, I think it's a 2. I think it's a 2. Even though I know I just said all this good stuff about it, but I think it's still probably a 2.
yeah, I'd agree. 2-ish. You're
Next
not
turn.
alone. 1 white for an
You're
instant.
not
Target creature you
alone,
control.
but
gets
don't
+2/+2.
forget it.
Do you want to do this card? You were singing it. It's beautiful. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control 3 or more creatures, it gets +4/+4 instead. Pretty good combat trick. You play it in green-white. Yeah, give it 2.5 in green-white and probably like a 1.5 in any other deck.
That's a 2, CJ.
Please. Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm just not a combat trick guy. I don't know. I think this card's fairly mid. I'm just gonna go 1.5.
Yeah, I think it'd be almost better if it read something like gets +2/+2 if you have 3 or more creatures. It gets like indestructible or first strike or something with no mechanic text on it other than just straight power and toughness. I don't think it's good enough. So I'm probably a 1.5 as well.
I'm in Nathan's boat. I'm going to give it a 2.5, just purely based on the fact in what was
Green
it, the Haven set, with the mice and the rabbits and stuff. That pie card, the +2/+2 for 1. Like that card was a pain in the ass as it is.
Yeah,
and
but
this
that
has a
gave
higher
that gave
upside on that as
indestructible,
well.
didn't it? You're talking about the
I
one
mean,
you could
Give
bargain.
them if you give them a card, yeah. But
Yeah, that's what
Crumb-
made that
Crumb and
card
get
so
it.
good. Yeah, Crumb and
get
get it.
it. I think this
Indestructible,
card,
bro. That's crazy.
I think it's a solid trick, so I'm going to give it a 2.5.
I don't know. It's like
I think tricks are going to matter.
really because in slow formats,
that.
tricks get worse and worse. Like if we think the format's slow, the tricks
it's
tricks
a slow
are
format,
worse.
but the removal is also less, so your tricks are going to be quasi removal.
Like not get as much blowout. You mean?
Tricks get better in the go wide deck though, regardless, because you're just putting it on your tokens anyway, as well.
But it's like 1 mana +4/+4 really so good. Would you not just rather a removal spell?
1 mana +4/+4 is
pretty
nuts.
good.
Yeah, that is good. But
I mean, we've had giant growth forever, and that's 1 mana +3/+3. I mean, that's like I would basically never play that in a draft or a sealed deck.
But
Like
did
maybe
you play
like 23rd card.
1 green +5/+5 in the domain set?
I don't think I drafted that one.
Yeah.
What
it
was the
pretty
condition of that
viable.
one?
It was very good. It was if you have domain, so +1/+1
Oh,
for
yeah,
each land
okay.
type.
Yeah,
And
look,
that
I think
was
that
slow format.
like yeah, I mean I'm happy with my 1.5, but I think it's 2.5.
I'm going to put
is
money
key.
on the first draft you do. You're going to draft red white, and you're going to play that card, and you're going to be like,
The card's gas.
we got Zach Fair, 1 mana legend. It's an 0/1. However, he enters with a +1/+1 counter. Tap 1, sack him. Target creature you control is indestructible until turn. Put his counters on that creature and attach an equipment that was attached to him to that creature. Target creature is indestructible. Yeah, I mean this card's solid, fine. I'm just gonna give it a 2.
I think this is like, I mean, it's the best 1-drop we've seen. I think this is possibly a 3. I mean, giving indestructible to your best creature even later in the game can be very, very good. I mean, I harken back to Savior Dog or whatever it was. I think that was a 2/1 for 1. You could
Selfless Savior. Yeah.
Selfless
It's a
Savior. I
1
remember
mana,
that was
1/1.
always being quite good. And this has much better text on it, so I think this is a 3.
I think 2.5. Pretty much the same reasoning as Heath. I think it's very reminiscent of that 1/1 blue pirate from back in the day. That was a pain in the ass to deal with as well. So getting this down early and then protecting your big creature seems pretty good.
So I might be pretty high on this because I literally just beat the game that he's based off. like 2 hours ago. Um, but I do think this is probably a 3.5. I think it's so important for the artifact deck. Late game, it's just 2 mana, put a counter and an equipment on something and punch through. I think he's going to play very, very well. Lots of things you
Definitely
can do.
putting that counter, putting it somewhere could be underrated.
Yeah, the counter plus the equipment.
Stay though.
Yeah, and indestructible. I mean, it's 3 effects for 1 mana. Like, it's pretty gas. All right, guys, that concludes the white set review. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag, I think. I haven't seen too many uncommons and commons that I've been super impressed with. I know there's some really powerful uncommons at gold, at the jewel card, so we'll see when we get there. But thanks for coming in. Keep an eye out for the next set. We'll be jumping into blue in the next video. I don't know, do you guys want to say anything?